Hi, my name is Jacob, and welcome to another episode of Raw and Uncut on the Abrasive Conversations platform. In this episode, I would like to speak about the state of the ANC. Now, many of you who are watching this channel might not be supporters of the African National Congress, but you might be interested in South African politics. So I would suggest that you don't click away and that you listen, because this might be of interest to you and it might help you with a very good conversation in future. So recently I had a phone call of one of my friends. She's an ex-ANC member, and the question that she asked me is, I think, an extremely interesting question, and I think is one of those questions that I think we are supposed to be talking about. And the question that she asked me was, is Cyril Ramaphosa destroying the ANC? Now, this comes after she attended an event, and at this particular event there was no ANC person on the program, but there were members of the Patriotic Alliance, the DA, so other members of the GNU was part of that event. So it was a very good observation of her. So in this episode, I would like to attempt to answer this question. But if you want to hear my answer to this question, you can skip to the end of this episode. I will reveal it. But before I answer the question, there's about 5 things that we have to consider when it comes to answering the ANC, and especially the decline of the ANC. And after that 5 points, we might come to a conclusion whether Ramaphosa is destroying the ANC or not. So I would like to start at the first observation that I think that we have to consider. And for me, that is, the ANC is always best in the hands of the lower middle class. Now, Jacob, what do you mean by that? So the African National Congress was established in 1912, and it was established by members of the lower middle class. So up until 1997, the 1997 NEC Congress, the party remained largely in the hands of the lower middle class with Thabo Mbeki's leadership. But when we got to the 2007 election, suddenly we saw the emergence of the new ANC lead with all of the contracts and everything that happened. So from 1997 up until 2007, it is a completely different ANC, and there's completely different members and forces within the NEC. So suddenly the people that were once part of the lower middle class or the petit bourgeois currently at that point were not, you cannot consider them to have an interest of the poor and the working class. So since then, the ANC has not been in the hands of the lower middle class. So my first observation is that up until 1997, it was best in the hands of the lower middle class. And I would say that if the ANC wants to go back to where it once was, then that's one thing that they should be consider, is that they have to return to the lower middle class. Now, the reason why I'm saying the lower middle class is because the lower middle class is closer to those who are poor and working class, but they're also far enough from the elites, close enough so that they can formulate policies to bring their families out of poverty and to a better life, and far enough not to be corrupted by the tendencies of the elite. So that's my first observation. My second observation is with regards to its contradicting ideologies that they currently have. So the ANC, as you might have not known, the ideological stance is actually in their name, African National Congress. So the ANC was born as an African nationalist party, is focusing on African nationalism. So meaning that at that point with its establishment, it was interested in fighting for the rights and the inclusion of the African people within the colonial state and later the apartheid state. But as the movement and as the party grew and as Afrikaner nationalism took over the government in 1948, they had to focus on new alliances, and these new alliances led them to the SECP. So the SECP introduced socialism, and since then we have this contradicting ideologies that is within the ANC. Which way is it swinging? Liberal nationalism, conservative nationalism, or is it swinging towards social nationalism or socialism? So since then you have this back and forth within the think tanks within the ANC and the intellectuals within the ANC is where should we go. Now currently this is what is not happening in the ANC. This contradictory ideology is not resolved. Now during the 70s, the 80s, and not a large part, but to a certain extent during the 1990s, there was vibrant and healthy debates within a party as to where are we going. So and these types of debates led to important moments within the alliance. One of them was the mass democratic movement, and another kind of key moment was the National Democratic Revolution. Now for you that maybe young doesn't know it, or for you that is not a ANC member or a new ANC member, a new ANC supporter, these are actually kind of founding debates that formed the thinking going into 1994 and the formation of the 1996 Constitution. So if we look at the 1996 Constitution, then we get to something that we can call a national, African nationalism with characteristics of that's leaning towards social democracy. So if we look then at the rights that is protected within the Constitution, then we see there is rights that is leaning towards socialism, but you also see there is rights that is really leaning towards, that is very liberal and very conservative and even traditional to a particular sense. So I think going forward, it's one of the things that they have to resolve. They have to resolve these contradicting ideologies, and they have to return to healthy debates within the party. Number three is a question that I have, and maybe it's so more a question for ANC members and supporters, especially those of them who know. And my question is the mass democratic movement and the National Democratic Revolution still relevant? And I would say this, I was at an event in 2023, it was a COSATU event, and at this particular event, the SECP started playing with this idea that they wanted to contest the elections in 2024. We all know that that did not happen, but at that particular time I saw a very kind of strange thing happen within the alliance. But the thing that was more clear to me is that there is almost no more alliance. So to me, the mass democratic movement and the National Democratic Revolution is dead. It doesn't exist anymore. And it's largely because there is no political schools, there's no political education, and nothing that was within the ANC, within the structures, is there anymore. So there is no more political debate. And because there's no more political debate, ground forces between COSATU, the SECP, and the ANC doesn't get to platforms and events where they can have these type of discussions. So I'm of the belief that these two, I would say, moments within the ANC are dead. It doesn't exist anymore. Can it be revived? I don't know. I do not know. But it will be interesting to see if someone can reply to me and what they think about this. These two particular moments and movements that was within the ANC, because what that type of discussions is also characterize apartheid as colonial of a special type. Is that dead? What is currently happening? I have my views on it, but it would be an interesting discussion if I can sit down with someone within the ANC and have this type of healthy debate. Number 4, I believe that the leadership is to blame. Not just leadership, but the leadership coming from, let's say, 2005. Some of the names, but since 2007 up until now, I think that leadership is firmly to blame. So like I said right at the beginning, is that the ANC currently is not in the hands of the lower middle class or the petit bourgeois. It's now in the hands of the ANC elites, people that is connected to the super wealthy across the planet. Now, if they're connected to the super wealthy across the planet, they're so far removed from the poor and even the working class and even the middle class. So the interests of the working class and the poor, the majorities in South Africa, doesn't come onto their radar. So what I'm seeing is a confirmation of this, because at all levels within all legislative structures of the ANC is this push towards self-interest. So at the local level, they would push for who's going to be the next councillor, who's going to be the next mayor, if the next councillor and mayor comes in, who are we going to appoint that help us as a cabal to either change the council or something. And nowhere is there a discussion as what can we do for the community. It's all about inward-looking positions and putting them into positions where they can benefit of the votes of people. And this makes them non-responsive at the local level, but even at the provincial level to the people. The people have noticed this, and I think it's for this particular reason that they do not vote ANC anymore, because why would I vote for someone who only serve their specific interests? So I think the ANC leadership currently is to blame, not the ANC as an organization, because there's members, there's supporters, there's policies. The organization cannot be responsible for what the leadership is currently doing. I'm of the belief if you remove the leadership and you get new leaders in, new good leaders, the ANC have the institutional structures, policies, and thing to get to their glory days of 2004 again. So they're not so far away from their base as an organization, but the leaders is very, very far from their base. So that's just my take on it. And one of the things that these leaders in different levels are doing is they thrive on dysfunctional branches. Now there's certain things that branches have to do, like they have to have a meeting every 2 months. There needs to be activities within the branches, but you don't see these things are happening. The only time you will hear about a branch is when there is a regional election on the way, or there's a provincial election on the way, or there's a national election on the way, and suddenly there needs to be delegates, and then the cabal decides who is the delegates that is going, and then that cabal ensure that whoever the national leadership cabal wants to be the next president or whatever position that people are going towards that particular thing. So the internal democracy of the ANC is completely dead. And the final thing on this particular point is that they are not looking towards the 2026 election. They still operate like they didn't lose the majority. If they were scared that they're going to lose completely the 2029 elections, they would have been in every community at this particular point. There would be ministers there would be party employees. They have the resources to be in every community every week, but they don't do it. They still operate like they did not lose the majority. Now it's easy for them, especially these leaders, because they can always jump to the next party, and we have seen this taking place throughout our history of democracy in South Africa. The party leaders jump, and the party dies after they completely ruin it. And I see the same type of sentiments that is currently happening within the ANC. And then finally, they lost the South African youth. And this is largely because a result of the Zuma era, the fallout between Julius, Zuma, and which led to the establishment of the EFF. And since the establishment of the EFF, they drew a large part of the ANC Youth League, but also general South African support. Before the EFF, it was almost a given that SASCO would win campus elections. The ANC would push resources into SASCO, and then they would win elections. But we have seen over the past 5-6 years that the EFF Student Command just came and started taking these university campuses one by one. At a lower level in the community, you don't see the ANC Youth League at all. They're more interested to sitting at the head of tables, to be in discussions with the mayors. They want to be seen more than having a responsibility towards the youth in communities, especially the youth that are poor and part of working class, but also those unemployed youth in our marginalized communities. So the ANC have lost the youth in South Africa completely. And if you lost the youth, you've lost your future. So one of the important things that I would say is that you need to start a campaign where you focus on the youth again, political education, but get rid of these leaders and put more responsive leaders in their place. And you can put younger people in places. The people who have taken, that is currently in parliament and all of these positions, they have taken a lot. It's now time for new ideas, new people in this position. So give it a shot. So now we have come to the final part where I said I would answer the question. So is Cyril Ramaphosa trying to destroy the ANC? I would say no. I would say that there is forces within his ranks that is hoping that he fail, so that they can position themselves as the next leaders of the ANC. I've written a longer part, a blog post on this, and you guys can click on the link below in this, and you can read it for yourself, where I put a much deeper analysis of this particular answer. So I do not believe that Cyril Ramaphosa is intentionally destroying the ANC. However, what I do see is that the leadership's self-interest, apathy is currently destroying the ANC. It's the leaders within the ANC with their own self-interest. Ladies and gentlemen, tell me what you think. I would like these sessions to be engageful. So let me think what you think. Why is the ANC in a decline? I'm interested in your answer. So drop a comment below, and I will, in the coming episodes, have a look at it and respond to it in another segment. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. This is Raw and Cut on the Abrasive Conversations platform. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys again.